Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good, Julia.
Okay, great. Um, Okay, thank you all for joining us today and for this important online session on how and why we can vote in Wales. We are delighted to have organized this event with the Welsh Refugee Council, whose ongoing support for refugees and displaced people across Wales has been invaluable. Today's workshop is designed to provide clear, accessible guidance on democratic rights, eligibility to vote, and why civic participation matters, especially for those who have recently made Wales their home. And I'm very pleased to introduce Paul, who will be leading today's presentation. Paul has extensive experience working with democratic engagement and has support and supporting communities across Wales in understanding their rights and ensuring their voices are heard. We are grateful to have him with us today to share his expertise. Before we begin, I'd like to let you know that this session is being recorded. The purpose of recording is to ensure that all of this valuable information can reach as many people as possible, including those who are unable to attend live. It allows individuals and families to revisit the guidance at their own pace, to double check any details they may have missed, and to feel fully informed as they take steps towards registering and participating in Welsh democracy. The recording will be shared only for educational and informational use. Thank you again for being here and for taking an active role in shaping your future in Wales. Paul, over to you.
Thank you very much, Julia. So I'm just going to share my screen now and hopefully bring up a presentation that you can all see that will help us today. Bear with me. Typically, just got to get this IT bit sorted here. Bear with me. Really appreciate all your time today as well. I know it's a Saturday, and I'm sure you've all got a lot to do, so I really appreciate it. Let me just get my camera on as well. So, hopefully you can see that. Does that work for you, Julia?
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So, yes, my name is Paul Shaxson. I'm the Communications Manager for the Welsh Refugee Council. And as part of my role, I am in place to help improve democratic engagement with communities across Wales. As Julia said, explaining to people, A, they have the right to vote, B, how to do so, and see why that is so important. And it really is important as we move forward to next May's Senedd elections. We've just got a bit of a boring bit at the start. If you can all scan that QR code, please, those of you on this meeting, and just fill in your details because I'm funded by the Welsh Government to carry out this work, and they do need feedback on how many people I've presented to and have taken part in this engagement. So it literally takes 30 seconds. If you can just scan that QR code and enter your details, that would be great. Okay, so hopefully you've all managed to use that QR code okay and gone through and entered your details. Is that okay for everyone? Okay, well, I'll send this presentation. Yulia has this presentation anyway, so if anyone needs to access that QR code again, we can send this presentation around. So, why are we here today? Well, in terms of Welsh politics, I'll give you a very brief history here. The Welsh Parliament, which is called the Senedd, as many of you will know, was created in essence to give people of Wales, in Wales, a stronger voice in decisions affecting their daily lives. So the National Assembly was actually set up in 1999 after a referendum under Tony Blair's Labour government as part of his devolution plans. And then in 2020, it became the Welsh Parliament, Senedd Cymru, as you know it now. So the Senedd makes laws and decisions on many issues directly affecting your day-to-day lives in Wales, and not many people really appreciate that, and I'll go on to that shortly. So, who can vote in Senedd elections? Firstly, you have to be registered to vote. That is absolutely crucial, and I go on in this presentation to explain how to do that. In Wales, different to the UK, 16-year-olds have the right to vote. So that's really important. There could be huge swathes of communities who don't really appreciate that, but 16-year-olds have the right to vote in Wales in Senedd and local elections. You need to live in Wales, not be legally excluded from voting, a British, Irish, or citizen, and then also a citizen of another country if you have permission to stay in the UK. A lot of people will be granted, obviously, leave to remain and voting rights. So you are able to vote if you have refugee status, if you have humanitarian protection, indefinite leave to remain, settled status under the EU settlement scheme, pre-settled status, spouse or partner visas, leave granted under Article 3 and 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, discretionary leave to remain, and then Afghan, Ukraine, and Hong Kong schemes included in that. So you all have the right to vote in Wales and really need to do so. Why does it matter in Wales? Not many people know that certain things within Wales are devolved to the Welsh Government. So the Welsh Government has the power to make decisions in key areas, such as health and NHS, education, and housing. So some of the examples there you can see of devolved policies unique to Wales: free NHS prescriptions. That was a Welsh government policy, a Welsh government decision. That does not happen in England. You pay for your prescriptions in England. Free school meals for all primary school children, for example. These are things that affect people's day-to-day lives and are Welsh government decisions that impact everybody's daily life. Now, next May's election is really important and really interesting because we're using a new voting system in Wales. We're using proportional representation. What it means, there's going to be 16 super constituencies created in Wales, which you can see there on that map. And each of those constituencies will have 6 members of the Senedd elected to them. So that means the number of members of the Senedd is increasing. It currently stands at 60. It's increasing to 96 after next May's election. And the whole point about proportional representation, it's meant to give a fairer indication of how the votes have gone. It's meant to give more choice to people, a stronger democracy. So your individual vote under this system really does count and can make a huge difference. So, and in the traditional first past the post system, which you see in Parliament, in Westminster elections, it tends to be dominated by the two main parties, which has traditionally been Labour and Conservative. What proportional representation does is allow more minor parties, for example, to get a share of that vote and a share of those places in the Senedd. So it is meant to be fairer and stronger for democracy. Now, the election next May is historic, particularly for refugees and ethnic minority communities. For the first time in Wales and in an election, certain things, certain support that people have taken for granted are under threat. And my role here is I'm Welsh Refugee Council is a charity. We are apolitical. I cannot and will not tell people how to vote. That's up to people to go out and decide themselves. But what people do need to understand is that certain things are under threat at the next election. So, things like access to language support, Welsh asylum and move on support, community cohesion support, education opportunities. These are policies that sanctuary seekers and refugees in Wales have benefited from and hope to do so in the future. But they are under threat if people don't vote. Now, the next slide should be an audio element to it, so please let me know if you can't hear this.
To find your elected official, head to find a member of the Senedd on the Welsh Government website. Simply type in your postcode and click search. This will bring up who is your elected representative in your area and also how to access their profile. Click on their photo and it'll take you to their profile. Here you're going to be able to see their office address and their Senedd address, as well as their contact details and social media handles.
Could everyone hear that okay? Did the audio come through okay on that for everyone?
Yeah, it worked fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great. So it's really easy for people to find their local member of the Senedd. So what we've done there is given you a way of doing that, and there's a QR code there that you can click through to. What is good about Wales is that Welsh politicians, including ministers, are very open to access. They do engage with the communities. It is possible to get meetings with them. And I think this is something that people really need to take advantage of. So we've got that tool there, which allows you to find out who your member of the Senedd is. We would recommend then some top tips for reaching out to those members on key issues. An email works really well. Keep it short and succinct with your kind of main points. I think an email from a number of people, so writing on behalf of a group of people works really well. And really keep it professional, get your points across, but you will get a response. You will be able to engage with those democratic leaders, and I think that's really important. So, what I'm going to do now, there's a few simple videos that we've linked into from the Electoral Commission, which explains to you how to do certain things, such as register and then how to vote.
If you want to vote, you must be registered. The rules for who can register to vote are different depending on where you live. If you live in Wales, you can register to vote from the age of 14 years old. If you are 18 and over and are a UK or Irish citizen, or a qualifying Commonwealth citizen living in the UK, you can vote in UK Parliament general elections and by-elections, and Police and Crime Commissioner elections. If you are 16 and over and are a UK or Irish citizen, a qualifying Commonwealth citizen, or a qualifying foreign citizen, you can vote in Senedd elections and local council elections and by-elections. You're a qualifying foreign national resident in Wales if you are a citizen of another country who has permission to enter or stay in the UK, or someone who does not need such permissions. If you've never registered, have recently moved to a different address, or changed your name, you can register to vote online at gov.uk/register to vote. You can also apply by completing a paper application form. If you live in temporary accommodation, or don't have a fixed or permanent address, you may still be able to register to vote. If you're not sure if you are eligible to register to vote, if you need help registering to vote, or you want to request an application form, contact the elections team at your local council. To find their contact details, visit electoralcommission.org.uk/voter. If there's an election in your area soon and you're not registered to vote, the deadline is 12 working days before election day.
Okay, so now we've got a video coming up, how to vote at a polling station. So once you've registered, there are then a number of ways to actually vote on the day of the election or just before.
Voting in person. Before an election, you'll get a poll card which tells you where your polling station is. Polling stations are open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. As long as you're in the queue by 10 p.m., you'll be allowed to vote. When you get to the polling station, tell the staff your name and address. You'll need to bring photo ID with you to vote in UK Parliament and Police and Crime Commissioner elections. The staff will ask to see a form of accepted photo ID, like a passport or a driving licence. Check out the Electoral Commission's website for a full list of options.
The distance.
You don't need to bring photo ID to vote in Senedd or local council.
Darts player that was sponsored.
At UK Parliament and Police and Crime Commissioner elections, it doesn't matter
No, thank you.
if it's out of date. You can still
Do
use
you
it
not sponsor a darts player?
as long as it's still. If you don't have any photo ID, you can apply for free voter ID online or by contacting your local council.
It's pleased with wins.
The staff at the polling station will then give you your ballot paper. Take your ballot paper into a polling booth. Remember to be respectful of other people so everyone can vote in secret. There'll be a pencil in the polling booth, but you're welcome to use your own pen if you'd like. Mark who you want to vote for on the ballot paper as it instructs. You may have 2 or more ballot papers for different elections. If you're unsure about anything or need help, just ask a member of staff and they'll be happy to help explain the process. Don't worry if you make a mistake. Just ask a member of staff and they'll give you a new ballot paper. When you've made your choices, put your ballot paper in the ballot box. At the end of the day, the ballot box is taken away for all the votes to be counted. Your vote will be kept safe and secret, and no one will find out who you voted for. Learn more about your vote at electoralcommission.org.uk/learning.
So the key thing to say there is you do not need photo ID to vote in Wales. So I just want to make that point again. You do in elections in England, but in Wales you do not need photo ID. So don't worry about that. So you can vote in person on the day. Some people don't like doing that. They feel a bit pressurized, maybe queuing outside the polling station and going into that kind of environment. So you can vote by post, and it's really simple to do that as well, which this video explains.
Voting by post. If you're going to be away from home on polling day, or you're unable to get to the polling station for any reason, you can apply to vote by post. To vote by post, you need to complete an application. You can contact your local council for information on how to apply. You'll need to give your signature and date of birth on your application form, and you'll need to give these again when you cast your vote. This is to confirm who you are. You don't need photo ID to vote by post. A postal vote pack will be sent to you before the election. Follow the instructions and put everything back in the free post pre-addressed envelope and post it to your council to be counted. If you forget to post your vote, it can be dropped off at a polling station on the day of the election. Remember, your postal vote needs to get back to your council by 10 p.m. on polling day if you want your vote to be counted in the election. Learn more about your vote at electoralcommission.org.uk/learning.
And there is one final way you are able to vote, which is by getting somebody you trust to vote on your behalf, which is called voting by proxy, which this brief video will just explain now.
Voting by proxy. If you can't get to the polling station on polling day, you can ask someone you trust to vote on your behalf. This is called voting by proxy, and your trusted person is often called your proxy. To vote by proxy, you need to complete an application. You can contact your local council for information on how to apply. You'll need to tell your trusted person who you'd like to vote for. On polling day, they need to go to your polling station to vote. This may be different to where they go to vote. They need to tell the polling station staff your name, your address, and their own name. When voting in UK Parliament or Police and Crime Commissioner elections, they'll need to take photo ID with them, like a passport or their driving licence. This should be their own photo ID, rather than yours. If they don't have photo ID, They can apply for free voter ID online or by contacting their local council. They don't need photo ID to vote on your behalf in Senedd or local council elections. They then follow the normal process to cast your vote. If your trusted person can't get to the polling station, they can apply to vote by post. This is called a postal proxy. Learn more about your vote at electoralcommission.org.uk/learning.
So hopefully those videos there give you a clear indication of how you can actually vote in the elections next year. There are a number of ways of doing it. So I suggest you look at what is the easiest way of doing it for yourself. And what we would also recommend is do your research before the election, because with the system changing next year to proportional representation and more members of the Senedd going to be recruited, they will be even more keen to secure votes next year. What does this mean? The manifestos are going to be coming out shortly for each individual party. I really encourage people to look at those different manifestos and different policies. There are going to be probably more local candidate events in communities. There will be more candidates knocking your door. So just have those questions ready that you want to ask them, those questions that are relevant to you and your day-to-day life in Wales. Get ready to ask those and really make those politicians earn your vote and earn your trust. So just be prepared, because I think next year's election, as I said, it's going to be quite unique. It's going to be quite historic, and they will be desperate for your votes because of the new system and what's at stake. So make sure you've got those questions ready. So think about what policies affect you and your community the most. What are the party's positions on housing and jobs and education, etc., and immigration? And does the party's record match its promises? So look at what they've done historically and see how that works out with how you think and what you feel should happen. Now, there's a QR code here which enables people to register. As we said at the start of the presentation, you have to be registered in order to vote. So for anyone who's not registered, there's a simple way of doing it here. So you can either do that now, or as I said earlier, Yulia will send this presentation around and you can use the QR code then. And hopefully when you send this out to the wider community and the people you work with, hopefully then anyone that's not registered can use this QR code and then go through and do what they need to do. So we've tried to make it as simple as possible for people, but just remember, you have to be registered. There are a number of ways of voting. Do your research. And with the new election taking place next year, and the new way it's going to be run, it's really, really important, and every vote counts. We've kept it short and sweet. Hopefully there, though, is enough detail for you to have a more now thorough understanding of why the election is important and what you need to do to take part in it. Please can you scan that QR code and just give some feedback, because as I said at the start, the Welsh Government do monitor us on this. They've provided the funding for me to do this work. So we do need to report back on who we've presented to and what kind of response we've had. So please, if you could scan that QR code and fill in that brief form, that would be absolutely fantastic. But I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. Hopefully that was all relatively self-explanatory, but please do ask any questions you've got if you have any. Thank you very much. Okay, hopefully everyone's been able to use that QR code and that works okay. Okay, if everyone's happy, I'll stop sharing my screen and take any questions that you may have. Is that okay, Julia?
Yeah, that's completely fine. There is actually one question in the chat.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
In what cases can a fine of £80 be imposed? Right, so a fine of £80. I mean, it's not compulsory to vote in Wales. There is no law saying you have to vote. Um, I'm guessing any fines could be issued if there was some kind of voter fraud. So if you were pretending to be somebody you weren't, if you deliberately, obviously, tried to sabotage some kind of polling station, for example. But it's not compulsory to vote in Wales, and that's why this kind of work is so important because a lot of people don't understand the importance of it. So I think hopefully that presentation has sort of highlighted what's at stake and what the Welsh government actually has the power to do in Wales. It does make decisions that impact your daily lives. It is going to be a very historic election in terms of how we know the system we're using. It is an election that could see real change in Wales for the first time. Traditionally, the Labour Party has dominated Welsh politics, and I think for the first time that is under real threat, and there's real change there. Whether that's good or bad, obviously that's up to individuals to decide. So it is a very, very interesting election, and every vote truly does count. So in terms of your question there, I'm not sure why a fine would be imposed. As I said, it's not compulsory to vote, so you can't be fined for not voting. So there would only ever be some kind of fine or some kind of legal issue if there was some kind of fraud taking place and you're not the person you say you are trying to vote.
Thank you so much for your response. Please raise your hand and ask a question or send your question in our chat. Okay, while you are thinking about questions, I just want to mention if you will come up with maybe your questions during registration or something else, Paul, would it be good if questions will be directed to the Welsh Refugee Council?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, look, we're here to help in whatever way we can. So I'm happy to come out and meet with people and do face-to-face kind of meetings and presentations if needs be, if that would be of interest in certain communities. Happy to do this again with other people online. But please, if you've got any questions, then direct them to me, Yulia, and I can get the answers for you and sort that out. That's no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. Would it be okay for you to put your email address or the
Yeah.
best way to contact you for people, in our Zoom meeting, but as well for many people who will see this presentation later, so
Yeah,
they know how to
absolutely.
reach out? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, please don't hesitate. I'm here to support and explain as much as I can. I do recognize and appreciate that we try and keep the presentation simple, but we don't want to lose the importance of it. It is a really, really important election next year, and the Welsh political landscape could really change. So it is important that everyone engages on this and understands they have that right to vote. They have that opportunity to make a difference. But any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I'll help in whatever way I can.
Okay, I would like to give one more minute to everyone, just to think maybe of some questions that might come up. But yeah, I just want to say while everybody thinks, thank you so much, Paul, for this clear and informative presentation, and thank you to everyone who joined today. And we hope this session has helped you feel more confident about your rights, about voting process, and the role you can play in shaping decisions here in Wales. And thank you so much, Paul, for the work you do. It's really important. Yeah, thank you so much. I know that many people don't realize how important it is and what they can actually do with their right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, yeah, that's all I will say. If you take anything away from today, it's understanding that you can make a difference. So please do. Please use your democratic right and get involved and have that impact. It's an opportunity to shape our future in Wales, and every vote counts.
Okay, anybody, any questions? Okay, it seems like there are no questions at this stage.
No problem.
Yeah, okay, thank you all for joining. The information shared today is extremely important. Just want to highlight it once again, not only because it explains who is eligible to vote, but because it empowers you to take part in decisions that directly affect your daily lives, your families, and your communities. Understanding your rights is a crucial step to having your voice heard and helping to shape the future of Wales. And yeah, again, thank you, Paul. A very big thank you to you and the Welsh Refugee Council for doing this. And as mentioned earlier, today's session has been recorded, and we will share the link so you can all rewatch it and pass it to other people, to your friends, to your relatives, to your communities, and explain to them why it's so important to vote and how they can vote and how they can take part. And don't hesitate to contact Paul. His email in our chat. It will also be added to contact details and as well as presentation. So yeah, we want to reach wider communities because the next election, which will be in May 2026, is going to be really important and crucial for everyone to take part in it. Yeah, if you have any further questions or need additional support, please feel free to reach out to Paul. And thank you all once again for your time, for your engagement, and for your commitment to understanding and exercising your rights. We wish you a wonderful rest of the day and wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Paul, and thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Bye.